Well, welcome to another edition of the Senior Footy Show for the Hampden Football Netball League. What a wonderful season. 12 rounds down. We've had interleague. It's just been magnificent. And as I say, a very good evening to Trent Hill. Hilly, we are getting down to the business end, aren't we now? It's pretty exciting.
Oh, it's unbelievably exciting. And I guess from the weekend's results as well, it wasn't the best in conditions, but the results were a little bit, some sort of surprised us, and that made a few shifts in the ladder and so forth. I guess the big jumpers were Koroit sitting fourth. They get a win. Obviously, a couple of other teams lose. They jump up to second place now. So they're putting themselves in a nice little position, the Saints. But, you know, Camperdown winning over North Warrnambool, Cobden having a good win over Terang Mortlake. It just, shuffling the ladder positions up really nicely.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. And probably one of the real big winners, I think, is Camperdown. You know, to get that victory against North Warrnambool, it certainly thrusts and keeps their top five hopes well and truly alive. And we head to the Reed Oval, and that's going to be our Hampden League Live match of the day this weekend. Warrnambool taking on Camperdown. It is a massive game. And, well, the Blues might unveil a big recruit too. I think they're just waiting for final confirmation. But this would be great. Luke Parks from the Carlton Football Club making his debut, hopefully, for the Warrnambool Blues on the weekend. Only has to get through training tonight. Which is just sensational for the comp, isn't it, Hilly?
Yeah, absolutely. Did a little bit of research on him last night after hearing the little whisper getting around the traps, and played 8 games, obviously a part of their VFL program as well as their AFL program, and as a defender, nice size, nice kick, could be a real fight for the Blues for the back end of the year. Yeah,
absolutely. So watch this space, which is fantastic. And we were originally going to South Warrnambool v Koroit up at the Friendlies, which is staying at the Friendly Society's Park now, but the concern was for mine, Hilly, there's 2 to 10 mils meant to come on Saturday again. So I'm just worried, you know, that it's going to be an absolute...
glue fest.
Yeah, glue fest again. And I just think for the coverage, and I just think we're going to get the ball buzz around a little bit, even if it does rain at the Reed on that surface.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, obviously the water that hits the surface will be a little bit kinder, and obviously didn't have footy on it last week, so it's not going to be ripped up. But yeah, hopefully we don't have that rain, but I think we're sort of inclined to get a decent little spray. So we're all about the spectacle, and we want to ensure the viewers get a good look at it as well. And I think obviously a season-defining game, you know, the next couple of weeks are really important for both the Blues and the Magpies, and they'll be fighting hammer and tong to get a win because they still want to stay in calculations.
There's realistically, you know, 2 or 3 games each weekend we could be covering, you know, that are all kind of really important games. So, yeah, we kind of had a look at the next kind of block of 4 or 5 weeks, and yeah, it is going to be great. Well, we're going to virtually get around nearly every team, I think, in this next 4 or 5 weeks as well. And we're going to get over to Portland Tigers as well, which will be great. We haven't been over there, the only club we haven't been to this year. So looking forward to that in the split round as well, Hilly. Hey, let's go to our special guest tonight. We've got a couple. Jetty Hopper from the Port Fairy Seagulls is going to join us in a couple of minutes' time. But before we go to Jet, let's go to the president of the Hampden Football Netball League, Shane Trelfel, who's been kind enough to join us. Trelf, how are you, buddy?
G'day, man. How are you?
Mate, looking magnificent, resplendent as always. Hey, Trelf, some really exciting news during the week, mate, with the Portland Tigers electing to stay in the Hampden Football Netball League in 2023. This is great news, isn't it?
Yeah, so Troy, the president of Portland, rang me yesterday, and it was a great phone call to receive, because when I saw it was Troy, I'm going, are they staying, are they going? I sort of had a bit of anticipation there for a minute, but yeah, no, Troy informed me that they're going to stay, so that was fantastic, and it really keeps us at the forefront of the major league competitions in the state. Having 10 really good clubs in our comp's fantastic, and they're certainly an integral part of that, so I'm wrapped they decided to stay.
Hey, Trolf, they've been a great addition since 2013 with the Hamilton Kangaroos, and while they haven't endured that success, and obviously had a great year last year I should say, but then obviously lost a few players this year, it's so important we kept them, you know, to keep a 10-team competition, but you know, obviously just to keep them and have a really good brand of footy being played, as we've seen this year, has been really crucial.
Absolutely, and look, you have to feel sorry for them after last year. They worked really hard to get that list together, and then for various reasons, and no one's fault, they lost a lot of players all at once. But I guess if you've been involved in footy long enough, we've all been involved in clubs where that's happened, and it's gut-wrenching at the time, and it's really disappointing for the volunteers and all that sort of thing. But now I think they've decided to stay. They'll roll the sleeves up and get cracking again and start recruiting and retaining their players, and they'll be back to their competitive best before too much longer, I'd imagine.
Now, I was having this conversation, you know, Portland's side from last year, if they carried that on into this year and picked up 1 or 2, to be honest, they'd be sitting top 2 for mine. You know, like, and that is how close You know, things, you know, sliding door kind of moments, isn't it? You know, that's how close they were. And that's what, you know, like Holdy's done a magnificent job over there. He's obviously going to step down next season, you know, but it's up to the club now to really dig in, find a good coach, you know, that can kind of lift them up again and get a bit of enthusiasm back there again. And, you know, and mate, Holdy has been absolutely magnificent and been just the mainstay of that club and has done such a sensational job. And he's an absolute ripper. But I think just sometimes just that new life and a bit of enthusiasm can go a long way, can't it?
Yeah, and look, and what I'm hearing, I've obviously had some discussions with lots of people from over that way, and I think the decision to stay has been really well received. But prior to that, it galvanised a few people. I think, and we see it at every footy club, people drop off over time. I think this has just been a bit of an awakening, or put the local community on notice that we need some help. And I think it's going to galvanise and get a lot of those people back to the footy club. So I reckon the whole exercise will end up being a positive one for them and their community, and they'll get lots of support back after this.
So obviously for them to have a think about where their future lied, Tralf, obviously important now that you guys with the league, and you guys do a great job with all the clubs, but really important now that you guys continue to work with the Portland Tigers to make sure that, you know, they still want to be in this competition for years on end and, you know, and see their future here for a long, long time yet.
Yeah, no, we've had some good discussions with them. They've voiced a few concerns, which is fair enough. So we'll take them on board. We can't make promises to every club that puts things forward to us, but we certainly try and be fair. And there's certainly a couple of their concerns I reckon we'll be able to address reasonably quickly and hopefully get them into a happy place. So they love being part of our league, and all this goes, you know, is put behind us and they continue to be successful.
Yeah, it's awesome, mate. I had a lot of talk during the week about moving games from the friendlies and all that kind of stuff. Does the league get involved in that much, Trolf, or is it virtually just between the clubs to sort things out? Because it's hard this time of the year. Like, not many grounds are going to be in good nick, to be honest. It's just how it is. It is a winter sport. We've had a hell of a lot of rain over the last couple of months.
Yeah, so first of all, the clubs are really good at communicating with their opposition, so they'll run it past the opposition and put some thoughts together. But then it's got to be ratified with us, so it comes back through us. And if there's any support required in the location of grounds, we're certainly happy to do that. But the clubs are really good at communicating between themselves and basically getting it organised.
Hey, Tralf, speaking about grounds, obviously we're getting to that, you know, that end of the season where finals, venues and so forth start getting discussed.
Jeez, this is early, Tralf.
I know. I'm just interested. When does the discussion start with you guys, and have you sort of started mapping out some scenarios where finals might be for the first couple of weeks at least?
We started on Monday night at board meeting with the juniors. So we've sort of put that in place because that has a bit of flow on it as to where the senior games are played. So the one thing I will say that was discussed, that any club that missed a final last year will have the opportunity to get one this year. So I think that's a good step forward.
Awesome.
I don't think clubs should go 2 years in a row without having at least a junior or a senior final. They can't all have senior finals, obviously. So we're certainly conscious of spreading that round. Obviously, Hamilton are the ones that aren't in a position at this stage. But I'm sure once their new facility's up and running, they'll be right in the mix for finals again. So that's the first point. We need to consider the clubs that missed out last year. And then there's all the other factors about the conditions of the ground. And to be honest, the final decision with some might not be until the week before the game. We'll put what we believe is the right places to play, but then they might have to be changed depending on the conditions. But we are certainly conscious of spreading it around and trying to make it fair and equitable.
Trolf, is it fair to say, because District League finished another week early, so 2 weeks earlier this year, so fair to say the prelim final and the grand final will be at the Reed?
Yeah, so our aim at this point is to play the junior grand final at the Reed and then the prelim and senior grand final. So there's still a little bit of discussion around that. We've probably got to go back to the negotiating table a little bit. And that's based around the fact that we've got to supply the Portaloos and that. So it's an increased expense for us, which we have to look into and work out, get some quotes and look at how that's going to look. But we've certainly got the opportunity to share some of that expense with the District League. So those discussions will be taking place. But in an ideal world, it'll be the junior grand final and the senior prelim and granny.
Yeah, beautiful, mate. Hey, listen, great work as always, Cholf, doing a wonderful job. You and the executive in the Hampden Football Netball League. The league is absolutely flying, mate, no mistake about it. Good on you, buddy, and we'll talk, no doubt, in the coming weeks.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, great stuff. Shane Trolfel there, the president of the Hampden Football Netball League, doing a great job.
Oh, super
as
job.
Always.
And obviously having to navigate a really interesting time, obviously, with the Portland Tigers' future. And that would have been pretty nerve-wracking at headquarters and so forth. But I'm so glad the Tigers have decided that the Hampden League's their home because they've been great since they've come in. They're a great football club. A lot of great people have come. And you get to meet them through, the footy circles and so forth. So, no, it's super news.
One of the rising stars of the competition, Jet Hopper from Horsham, come down recruit for the Port Fairy Seagulls, played under 23 interleague footy a couple of weeks ago. He's been an absolute revelation, been kind enough to join us tonight as well. How are you, Jet?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
Mate, fantastic, and just kicking back in the old work rig tonight, mate, are we? Just knocked off early?
Yeah.
Love it.
Knocked off and got home and still here.
Love it, mate. Hey, listen, tell us about your journey to the Port Fairy Seagulls. How'd you end up there? And obviously as a young boy growing up at Horsham, buddy.
Yeah, so I come from Horsham. I just wanted a bit of a change out of Horsham and and the beach. And I already knew a few of the fellas down here, and Dusty got a hold of me, and here I am.
Jet, what was the selling point to come to Port Fairy? Obviously, last year they really struggled. There was some really tough times there last year. What was the selling point that sort of got you? Obviously, the lifestyle, no doubt, but what was it about Port Fairy? Because I'm sure, the quality of footballer you are, there would have been a few footy clubs sort of circling you to try and get them to their footy club as well.
Yeah, I went to training and the serenity around it. It was pretty cool and a bunch of great fellas. So. And Dusty, he's a legend too. He's looking after me, so yeah.
I love the serenity, mate. I thought we were on the castle for a minute. I'm waiting for the jousting sticks to come out of the back of the work rig.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Hey, mate, last weekend against Koroit, tough conditions. Have you played in conditions like that? Because I'm tipping up Horsham way, mate. The grounds are pretty dry, a lot drier up that way, buddy. You wouldn't have probably had conditions like that for a long time.
Yeah, no, never played in anything like that. It gets wet, but it doesn't get muddy up there. So, a bit of mud, it was good.
Hey, Jet, the Seagulls are flying at the moment, mate. You guys aren't far off, from that top 5 at the moment. You're playing a nice brand of footy. Obviously the next couple of weeks are pretty important for you guys to try and sneak a spot in that top 5.
Yeah, hopefully a few games there that we can win, and then a couple that probably we're not favourites in that we can win as well, and then hopefully get in the 5.
Well, the next 2 weeks, mate, or the next 3 weeks to be honest, you've got Hamilton Kangaroos at home at the Gardens Oval this weekend. Then the next following week, you've got Terang Mortlake up at Terang Mortlake or Ridley Reserve. I'm not too sure. I did hear a whisper that might have been at the DC Farron Oval, so I'll double check that. And then the following week, you've got the North Warrnambool Eagles. So the next 3 weeks are massive, aren't they, for your season?
Yeah, most of them probably must-win games, I'd say. To stay in the 5, it'd be a big few weeks for us boys.
I think you're going to have to pencil in 2 out of 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Jet, I want to ask you, mate. We sort of seen you play on the wing. We've seen you play for back flank and up forward. Where have you enjoyed playing your footy under Dusty?
Well, you're lying if you're saying that you don't enjoy kicking goals. So, down forward's been good. Yeah, loving it.
Everyone loves to kick a goal, Jetty, that is for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're working for Duggan Civil.
That's right. Yeah.
Which is a great man, Al Duggan and Big Matty Brown, of course. The boys do a magnificent job too. So great to see you settling into to life in the southwest, mate. Hey, great to talk to you, buddy, and good luck this weekend. Big game coming up against the Hamilton Kangaroos.
Yeah. No, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Good stuff. He's a character, mate.
I love it. I actually ran into his granddad at the footy on Saturday. Really nice fella. Comes and watches Jet play. And, tells me he's a pretty handy cricketer. I don't know whether he plays much anymore, but I
Well,
think he
yeah,
seems like he might like a
few
bit of surfing and that. But I think
The old
he goes.
Pirates will be circling, I'd say.
I think he goes all right at the old cricket caper too, old Jetty. So yeah, watch this space with maybe the Port Fairy Pirates in the off season.
And they've picked up a few too. Alex Jennings is back, which is awesome as well. Hey, listen, let's have a look at the replay of some of the highlights. And there wasn't too many highlights, of course, last weekend. Koroit v Port Fairy, a really good win by the Koroit Saints. They've just done the job all year, haven't they? They've won the close games when they needed to, Hilly, and this was no exception. And this kid here, Paddy O'Sullivan, he's having a sensational season.
Oh, he's a superstar, Paddy O'Sullivan. He's taking his football to the next level. Kicked 3 goals. They only kicked 12 for the day, so he kicked 3 out of 7 as he kicked his second. Some really tough goals too, because even though they were set shots, the part of the ground where he's kicking them, really slippery and muddy, so easily to go maybe a little bit A over T if you didn't get that balance right.
He's just having a sensational season. He's a ripping young kid. He keeps himself really, really fit. And look, as we knew, the game just really tore up. It was one end where all the goals were kicked. Great goal there by Lockie Gunning, and it was down obviously that the Bega Cheese end. And you just, in these conditions, sometimes you just need a bit of luck. But that bloke there, Tysel McElwain, played centre half back against the wind, and then centre half forward with the wind, and he was certainly in the top 3 on the ground for mine. He was magnificent.
Mate, I look at Matt Sully and you look at where he can plug holes, obviously forward, back, midfield. This fella can do exactly the same. He can play ruck, he can play centre half back, centre half forward. So he's sort of like clone number 2 of Matty Sully, which is a great find. Tough conditions, as we said, really hard to manufacture goals. And as the game got on, I guess, Stewie, it was just harder to kick goals. As you can see, that dirt patch where Jace Rowan kicked that goal, it got worse as the day got on. So it got a lot more slippery. And, 4 goals in the third term, Koroit really set them up. They were up by a couple of goals at 3/4 time. And this was a ripper from Clemmy Nagorka. It was a really good kick, and he allowed for the win and drove it beautifully. But they set up so well defensively in that last quarter that they just didn't allow Port Fairy to get any clear passages to try and manufacture anything.
Now, Alex Pulling, injury late in the game. James Gow injury halfway through the second quarter. Both integral players for this Koroit Saints lineup, aren't they? They're going to be missed over the next couple of weeks, Hilly.
Yeah, well, it's obviously with the tightness of the competition, you want your best team out there, and there's 2 A-grade midfielders. I think they get Tom Couch back either this week or next week. I think he's available.
This week,
whether they play him forward or they push someone up the ground to play, to try and fix that role that obviously Chumpy and Gowie play. But yeah, 2 big losses over the next few weeks.
And as we said, just a great win, and the Koroit Saints go from 4th to 2nd on the Hampden League ladder. So you just can't keep them down. No. They've had such a big change of personnel, but they just know how to win. And I'm tipping, they're going to play finals now, unless something drastic happens in the back half of the year. But if you're going to play Koroit in the final, because you're going to be nervous and edgy, aren't you?
I'll tell you what, they've got kids that have just stepped up to the plate really well. Like I thought Jake Nakosh, terrific ruck battle against Jakey Bartlett in the ruck. He stepped up. Obviously,
Bartlett was sensational. Has been for the last 4 or 5 weeks.
And Jeremy Horsley, played that ruck contest in Corowa. So obviously have someone young, but who's really stepped into the fold really nicely. He's done really well. Young Taylor Burns looked pretty sharp in this few games that he's played.
He's a ripper, mate.
Clement Gork has stepped up his game another level. So they're kids. While they might only have 20 to 30 games under their belt, or even some less, they just know the structure and the method.
Yeah, absolutely they do. What about the remaining games in round 13? So Warrnambool Campion, that is our match of the day now. That is our Hampden League live game up at the Reed Oval. As I said, Luke Clark's.
Sparks,
he's going to be the hopefully the recruit for the Blues. Parks, I should say. Yeah, didn't I? I said Clark's, didn't I? But Lukey Parks this weekend, so hopefully he gets through training and can play for Warrnambool. It'll be great for the competition. South Warrnambool v Koroit. Up at the friendlies, we're seeing the pictures. I went and had a bit of a drive-by and had a bit of a look today, Hilly.
Bit of grass sort of starting to
come back, mate. But the problem will be, 2 games on it beforehand.
Yeah.
If we do get rain again, it's going to cut up.
Yeah,
pretty quickly.
And the hardest thing for the Roosters, unfortunately, because their change rooms didn't get completed within the first few rounds, all their games are going to be back-ended at the friendlies, and it's going to get chopped up. So hopefully, there might be a game or two they might have to look for an alternative venue, because by the end of the year, the friendlies is going to be an absolute mud pit.
I think they have got a game coming up at the Reed Oval, definitely penciled in, and hopefully they might be able to get another one in the back half of the year as well. Port Fairy Hamilton Kangaroos, big game as we just said. Jet, this is massive. The Seagulls just got to win. If they don't, I'd say their finals hopes are going to be dashed. Portland v Terang Mortlake. over at Hanlon Park. I reckon the Tigers, they might be thinking this could be a little opportunity here to possibly to get another 4 points.
Hanlon Park's always a bit of a domain, isn't it, for clubs to probably not play their best footy, because Portland, it's a different sort of type of ground, and Portland play it well, but the Bloods have dropped the last couple, so I think they want a spot in the top 3. And I think they'll be pushing pretty hard to try and get the 4 points. And
the final game, Cobden taking on the North Warrnambool Eagles. Eagles disappointing against Camperdown last week. Cobden are up and about a bit. Mark Marriott's the key for mine. Jesse Williamson.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, I'm hearing on the grapevine that Luke Wines could be back in the North Warrnambool colours this week as well.
Big recruit.
I'm hearing it's either going to be this week or next week, but we'll see him pretty soon. And obviously what he brings to the side off that half-back flank, that drive and penetration. And
Benny Muggerman back in too.
Benny Muggerman played his first game in the ones last week apparently too, so not a bad player to come back in. Obviously not a Nathan Vardy type, but geez, he's a dour player, and he'll fight right to the end. So and some experience too in amongst a young group.
And then Adam Wines to come back in the next week or so as well from suspension. So plenty of upside for the North Warrnambool Eagles, but they've got to win these games. And these games against teams that are in the same kind of bracket as you are even more important. So it is going to be a huge game this weekend, Cobden v the North Warrnambool Eagles. And that is round 13 action in the Hendon Football Netball League. We must thank our sponsors, Warrnambool Toyota too. The big $5,000 kick. It is on again in season 2023. So that is going to be on grand final day, which is going to be magnificent as well. So looking forward to that. And it's great to have Matty Burgess, Goffey and the team, Big Grant Harrison on board as well. So that is sensational. Piccolo Coffee too. They're the official coffee partner of the Hendon Football Netball League. And they're going to be at all the finals, the juniors, the seniors, you name it, they will be doing coffee there, which is absolutely sensational. So Johnny and the crew, and they are magnificent. They're really highly regarded in Piccolo Coffee.
You see them in their complex in Safeway, and it just that morning time from about 7 till 9, they are just pumping them out left, right, and centre. And they sell the coffee beans. I know they're heavily purchased in that as well. So a really good brand, and great to have Johnny and the team involved. It's great. I know he loves his local footy. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Hilly, round 13, can't wait for it this weekend. Our match of the day is Warrnambool taking on Camperdown, live from the Reed Oval.